Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends. We said we would do this if we could. We did this last year. McLaren are unveiling their new car. It is currently live. We're going to do a quick watch long. There is the aficionado, Stephen Thompson. And there is Mr. Moles, the McLaren fan. So, what are we expecting from the car, Neil? What do you want to see?
Something quick.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's obvious. But, you know, in an ideal world, what would you be wanting to see right now?
Something that hasn't got too much blue on it.
Okay. I did earlier go and try and find a couple of fan conceptions. Let me bring up one that I saw. How would you like to see something like that, Neil?
No, you're right.
No?
It's a lighter blue than what's already on the car.
What particularly doesn't... So what? Is it the lighter blue aspect of it that you don't like?
I don't really want the blue on it, if I'm honest.
Why is that then?
I'm fed up of having the blue now.
Isn't that a part of the McLaren colours though, Steve? The blue?
I don't know. I think it's just getting a little bit old now. I'd rather have orange and black. That would be awesome.
Orange and black. Okay. That wasn't the only one I saw. Let me go and grab the
blue, as far as I'm aware, has nothing to do with McLaren. It's probably just to do with one of their sponsors.
And
when they had Renault.
I should have asked you really where to find these type of things. I could only find two. So here is the second one I found. This one, tell me, is this one more to your liking?
Don't like the nose on that.
Not particularly.
I can scroll through. Oh no, that's a different team. So that's the only. That's the only. Oh, there we go. What do you think of that, Neil? What do you make of that?
No, you're right.
Why? What particularly is you're all right about it? I know it's not the
hideous stripage going on.
Yeah.
So
the back end, sort of from the airbox back, is all right, but the front, I'm not a fan of that stripe thing at the front.
People are going to start walking over the nose thinking it's a zebra crossing.
It does remind me of a there was a kids show. I think they were called the Tumbles. I think my cousin used to watch
start.
It. And there was I think it was an animal with the nose that was like that. For those that are currently watching along, the McLaren team they're going to launch the F1 car, the Indy car, etc. all tonight, but we're focusing predominantly on the F1 car. There's currently, who are the two people on my screen talking at the moment, Neil?
I don't know who you've got. There's 4 people sitting on seats.
Yep.
And none of them stand out to me.
But the chap that I'm talking to is a driver for the Extreme E side of it. So they're focusing on the Extreme E side of it at the minute.
See, I really like that, what's on the screen right now. I really sort of dig that, particularly from that side view there where the nose isn't as prominent.
Exactly, there's less blue going on.
Yeah, the less blue on the McLaren, the better.
This is what you wanted, is it not, Neil?
Yeah, but there's still a lot of blue on it.
But for some reason, there must be a blue. Like every fan concept I've shown you here tonight has a blue.
So is that because the last 2 or 3 cars have had blue on them?
We try and find a Google answer. Why does McLaren have blue? McLaren, it's homage to Golf's celebrated race car design. It's a Golf blue. There you go.
No, I think that's that one-off livery they did.
Yeah, Golf.
For McLaren?
Golf is sort of like a blue
Monaco.
grey.
Yeah, for Monaco, you're absolutely right. So that doesn't help me, that Google search. See, friends, sometimes Google
they can just go for that livery if they like. That was good.
Yeah,
that was
just go with Golf colours. Beautiful.
That was an off blue though. Why did you like that off blue but not another blue?
As far as I'm aware, pretty much the whole thing was blue. It wasn't the papaya orange and a bit of deep blue.
Because it was a one-off. A lot of one-off liveries tend to be better than the actual race liveries. That was
still not. So here we go. People often ask, according to Google, why is McLaren orange and blue? Let me just share with you this Google search. Right, you can see how flipping helpful it is. That's the answer. Orange is actually McLaren's original card back when Bruce McLaren first founded the team. The fact they were running Mercedes-Benz engines as a factory team and the fact they replaced Marlboro with West cigarettes led them to run the silver livery. I didn't want to know about fucking silver. I wanted to know about blue.
But
I'm sure it's because they had Renault. That when they had Honda, they were orange, black, and white, and then they ended up changing to the blue when they had the Renault.
Are you saying that Renault are a blue? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe, I don't know. So maybe Renault French blue, sort of French racing blue. I don't know, because obviously Alpine are blue.
Yeah. As a fan of another team, Steve, what are you sort of anticipating from the car?
I want less blue. I want orange and black, and I want it to be able to give Daniel Ricciardo, Lando Norris the chance to fight for wins. Obviously, I would prefer Williams to be ahead, but in a realistic world, that's not going to happen. So I would just it's a reset, isn't it, for everyone? I'm counting down the days so they launch their car. 15th, they do theirs.
Am I right in thinking this was last year's car?
Yeah.
So what do you both want to see changed from? I mean, as a new fan, I'll ask the question: do every year? Do they almost like scrap it and bring a whole new look, or do they tweak it? Is it going to be basically this with a few more? Because I know in football shirts, for example, you get a new shirt, but it's just one or two tweaks. It isn't a case of completely different look. How does it work in the F1 world, Neil?
Basically, you have your livery, and that's that. There was always in other seasons, like for Monaco and things, there'd be one-offs, but they seem to really have put a no-no on having a different livery every week, just like they did with the helmets, because a lot of drivers were having a different race helmet design and colour for almost every other weekend, and it was supposed to be that the fans, or new fans anyway, wouldn't have a clue who the drivers are, because you would normally tell by, say, Lewis Hamilton always had a bright yellow crash helmet. Well, if he's making it pink, purple, blue, red every other alternating weekend, new fans aren't going to know who it is.
Yeah, Vettel was always guilty of changing his. I think when it comes to F1 liveries as well, a team gets recognised as sort of a brand. So something like a Red Bull or Ferrari, you can't really expect them to change much. It's going to be red for Ferrari. It's going to be the usual colours for the Red Bull. But I think the only time we really see drastic colour changes is if there's a sponsorship change. So like when McLaren went from Marlboro to West back in the 90s, or when Williams went from, I think it was Cannon to Rothmans, and the livery changed there. And then there was that year, or a couple of years, where Williams were red because they ran Veltins, which wasn't right to have a Williams in red. So you don't often see drastic changes. I think because a lot of them, you're a bit limited really what you can do, unless you get a sort of a third party, sort of, a privateer team who can probably get away with changing their livery every so often. You don't really see it a lot now. So it's usually just tweaks, isn't it?
Oh,
so
we've got a video. We've got a video package before the car to be unleashed. It's coming. We haven't got long to watch.
I think they're on to IndyCar next month.
Yeah, that's a nice IndyCar.
Oh, really?
They're showing Award. He's good.
Yeah.
I'd have him in Formula One.
Says E.J. Norris. We'll go through some of the cars that have been revealed on Monday's show.
That's not the Red Bull. That's nothing like the Red Bull that's going to race.
No.
I just wonder.
They've just basically made a mockery of the unveiling.
Yep.
What do you mean a mockery of the unveiling? What particularly about the unveiling was a mockery?
Well, I know normally it wouldn't be the car as in previous years that you'd see in Australia, but it would be the basis, and then there'd be little bits added here and there, or a slightly different front wing design, and there'd be little tweaks all over the car, but to throw out a car that's going, basically it was a rebranded version of what the concept car was. It hasn't even got the DRS on the rear wing.
No,
it's just an absolute, like I say, it's just a mockery of it, really.
Yeah, all it was a livery reveal, wasn't it? I wish they'd have said it's just going to be a livery reveal. the livery itself does actually look quite nice with the new sponsorship and the sort of the tweaks to it. But
Yep.
yeah,
What is the new sponsorship?
I can never remember what they're called.
Oracle.
Oracle, that's it.
I might get the car up as we spoke about it so much. Here we go. I'll try and find it and get it on the screen.
We've seen 3 releases so far, but the only one we can really take anything from is the Aston, which is absolutely beautiful. The Aston
It drove
gorgeous.
Silverstone for a little
It did,
test.
yeah. It had
is that it?
Earlier today. Yep.
Yeah, but that's going to be nothing. That's the car that turns up to pre-season testing and the car that races in Bahrain is going to be completely different. The livery will be okay and be the same, but
the livery.
I think it would have. I think it would have looked better with slightly less yellow on the nose, but other than that, that's the only change I would have made to it.
That's a really good, to me, a good-looking car. That's a really good-looking livery. Yellow, I think you're right. I think, but then that ties in with the. Is it the halo above the driver? No. The what is that?
Airbox.
Thank you very much. The airbox. That ties. It goes in. You know, there's that symmetry to that. I really dig the black. Thing is, though, black and yellow, you're always going to get a good color car because those two colors really, really go together well. Metal Jace. Remember when Bar tried to use different liveries for both cars, but FIA told them they had to be the same.
Yeah, so they did.
BAR, yeah.
Yeah, they were sponsored. It was Lucky Strike, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Lucky Strike had 2 different brands. They wanted to run one car as Lucky Strike, another car as this other brand. And the FIA told them they couldn't do it. You had to have 2 identical cars. So didn't they put like a fake zip up the front of it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
They there was one half was going to be mostly blue and had some yellow and all sorts on it, and then on the other side it was the white and red.
That's it.
They do love drawing the fucking thing out, didn't they? Jesus.
They did last year.
Yeah.
They really did.
On the blue side, didn't they have 555? And like you say, on the white side, it was white and red. It had the Lucky Strike, in which on a lot of places ended up having Luckies because obviously cigarette branding.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I did like that. I love the old Lucky Strike BARs. I think they looked lovely back in the day.
Cigarettes not allowed to be advertised anymore then?
Nope.
Haven't been for quite a while. When they were allowed, West changed to Mika and David. Was it on the Ferraris? It had the it had like the shape on the engine cover, but it had none of the writing. Yeah. You had Benson and Hedges,
on the Jordan,
which changed to Buzzin' and Hornets.
It was Buzzin' and Hornets, Bitten and Hisses as well.
Yeah.
And then just Be on Edge.
Yeah, they changed it to quite a few things. Who else had one?
I think now because there was a couple, wasn't there?
But yeah, they all had like silly little names that they would change to for all the European races.
See, I'm quite surprised because all due respect, it's not a climate-friendly sport. It's if you're going to why can't cigarettes? If you're going to choke the world, why not choke people?
Well, they allowed because they outlawed it for a bit, but you're allowed alcohol sponsorship now because Williams had the deal with Martini a few years ago. I think Force India ran Smirnoff, and
McLaren have the bloke that's walking with a stick. Is it a whiskey or something?
I mean, joking aside, that was a joke there, and nobody laughed. That's standard of my jokes, but I don't remember as a kid ever looking at an F1 car or a football jersey or whatever, seeing the word Marlborough or Lambert and Butler or whatever, and thinking, do you know what I really need to do? Start smoking. Like, I didn't need. I was like, you're oblivious, aren't you? Because it's been stopped for children, I imagine.
I don't know. I'm with you, Martin. I agree entirely, but I think it's more along the lines that they can't be seen to promoting something that is not wanted in the world as such.
And it is a shame in a way because a lot
of revenue was lost because of it.
A lot of revenue was lost, but also some gorgeous looking cars because some of the best liveries came from tobacco sponsorships. I know that the Jordans are always yellow, but the Benton and Hedges Jordans were great. Guys. And there you go. And also, I think the Rothmans Williams were absolutely beautiful cars. They're some of my favourite Williams when they were
great,
sort of before I started watching Formula One, but they're iconic. You know, the sort of Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve era. So it is a shame that they're not allowed, but because it seems like a lot of cars now, they just seem a bit plain. You know, like they can only do so much. I mean, the McLaren's going to be orange and blue again, which we can almost guarantee looking at previous cars. Ferrari's going to be red. I'm intrigued by the Williams because apparently I was watching Williams yesterday. They showed Alex Albon and Nicholas Latifi a picture of the new car, and they were both really surprised. They said it's different and it's not the usual what you'd expect from Williams, and it had a new color in it and stuff. So I'm intrigued by that. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
And the Alpine
as long as
going to be blue and pink this year, not just blue.
As long as the Ferrari doesn't do the old horrible deep red that they keep doing every now and again, as long as it stays that nice bright red that
red and white
that we all come to know of them. Yeah.
A little bit of black. Okay, there you go. I'm just going to mute the mic. See things.
And then there was one. Yeah.
There we go. We're good. Sorry about that.
Excellent. They're going on to the esports now.
Esports. But yeah, EJ Norris. So good. There you go. Boy, she's polite. Who do you think is going to win this year? I think it's going to be between Red Bull and Mercedes in terms of team. In terms of driver, that's a tricky one. I think it could be. It's between those two teams. It's going to be a three-way fight. I think between George, Lewis, and Verstappen.
They've said. Perez has come out and he has ended up saying that he's not going to let Verstappen have it all his own way, and the fact that he helped so much at the end was because it was for the title, and he can be the only one to win it. But yeah, he's not going to do that at the start of this next season. It's everyone for themselves.
Yeah, and with Perez as well. He's not a young guy anymore. He's been in F1 since 2011. So he's running out of chances really to fight for the championship as Bottas was at Mercedes. But George is maybe going to take a few races to settle in. He's not going to want to step on anyone's toes straight away. But he's obviously, and the good thing with George, he's got time on his side. He's only a young guy. Same as Verstappen, really. If he misses out this year, he'll have plenty more chances. So it's really Lewis is running out of time for that 8th title, and Perez is running out of time for his first. I'd love to see Russell do it, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
I get a feeling that I just have this feeling it will be a bit like when Hamilton stepped up and it was him versus Alonso. I just feel that Russell could be a dark horse.
I feel there's something brewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he came in, obviously the fresh-faced young kid. Alonso was the seasoned champion, still got a young guy back then himself. He would only been, mid-20s, I think, when he was at McLaren, mid-27, 28, I don't know. He was still a young guy when he went to McLaren. See, Hamilton comes in and immediately steps on his toes and starts winning and being successful. So I hope George can do that, because it will also stamp his authority on it. And if he is in a genuine chance for a title, it will maybe Mercedes won't be so quick to favour Lewis because they'll have a genuine chance with George.
Sorry about that, fellas.
No, you're right. So I like the look of the drivers' race suits.
Do you reckon? Oh yeah. Do you reckon if Hamilton, because McLaren held Hamilton out of Formula One for quite a while, kept saying he wasn't ready, and they kept trying to change. Is that light blue a hint?
Well, I was going to ask, are the driving suits any sort of tell?
Normally, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. There'll be that blue, won't it?
I hope it's more orange and black by the look of that race suit.
Mm-hmm. With a bit of Gulf blue.
Yeah. That blue is better.
Well, you both said that. Yeah, definitely. They're both wearing driver's suits. One's got 3 on the back. One's got 4 on the back. Ricardo's got 3. Norris.
That's the number they've chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Does that indicate who the one is out of the 2 of them?
No.
Right. Okay.
Like with Hamilton's 44, I don't know what Russell is, but I imagine
63.
It's a lower number.
63.
Okay, it's higher. But yeah,
Tattooed on the
basically,
forehead.
it means absolutely nothing. A driver's asked to pick a number, and that is their number. 44 is Hamilton's karting number, so that's why he chose that.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of them have stories behind them. It was his karting number. Some of them don't. Some of them just pick a number. They're like Kimi Räikkönen. He picked number 7 back in 2014, I think, when they could first pick the numbers. And they said to Kimi, so why did you pick number 7? He said, well, it was my number last year. I saw no reason to change it. Well, okay, that's insightful. Thank you very much. But you can pick between 1 and 99. Or no, 2 and 99, unless you're the world champion, then you can have number 1.
Yeah. Was it Hulkenberg chose 99 because it was the highest you could go?
Giovinazzi had 99. And I think Sutil at some point had 99. Back when Adrian Sutil was racing, I think he had 99. There's been a couple who've had it because a couple of drivers have been and gone now, so the numbers sort of come back in. Like Latifi's using number 6, Nico Rosberg used number 6.
Ricardo has just shared a joke with the host. The host asked him a question, and I think if I heard it right, Ricardo said, basically, he's saying to me, pull my finger out. So I imagine he went through his race results. If I've heard that right, if that is right, does he need to pull his finger out, Neil?
100%. He got that win because Lando let him have the win, and it was the best thing for the team to get the 1-2. It was the only 1-2 of the whole season. I
still can't believe that. How dominant Red Bull and Mercedes were, and they didn't get 1-2s this year.
No.
Amazing.
But apart from that win, Lando basically allowed him to have. He did drive well all weekend, to be fair to him, but bar that, he didn't really do a lot. It was a disappointment for him.
Yeah.
So he needs to spring on this season and show why they signed him.
It's a similar situation to Perez and Bottas, really. And, they're not young guys anymore. I mean, Ricciardo's in his 30s now, so he's not going to be in Formula 1 forever. He's further towards the end of his career than he is the start of it. And if McLaren can give him a chance or give him a car to fight for wins and who knows, title this year, next year, he needs to take it because he's been in a few teams now. And you're going to get to the point where you think, well, should we hire Ricciardo because he's not really done anything at this team? Or we can hire a young guy and put our future with him. It's a tricky one.
Yep.
I mean, like someone like Lando, he's recently committed to McLaren until 2025, so that's awesome news for Lando.
Did you like that sort of tweet he did where he ended up saying basically streamer, golfer, and all these other things, a part-time driver, racing driver.
Lando just said, how we started the year is how we want to be for the whole year next year. We didn't finish it well, but we started it well. Was that something that you'd go along with, I suppose, Steve?
Yeah. Well, in Lando's case, yes. Ricciardo was sort of muddling along through the majority of the season, but Lando started really brightly. He had some decent podiums early on. I think he was third in the championship for a while because Bottas took a while to find his feet, as did Perez. They tailed off towards the end. Obviously, Ferrari got them to third in the end. Ferrari really were on an upward trajectory in the second half of that season. They did so well. And McLaren, apart from that 1-2 and that near miss in Russia, or the near victory in Russia, they did tail off. So it would be nice to see them hit the ground running and continue from there and give a challenge to the guys at the front. I think there's the thing with maybe it's like an old romance thing with Formula One, but you've got teams like Williams and McLaren who always used to be at the front, and they've each had their sort of dominant eras. Like McLaren have completely dominated the sport. Williams have dominated the sport. It's always nice to see those kind of teams at the front, because they've been around for a while. They've made the sport their own.
Yeah, sorry, Steve. Just as they're talking, I'm picking up the points, and Ricardo's just been asked what is the one thing he needs to focus on. He says testing the new car will be important, but it will just be open-minded, be experimental. There'll be some things that are expected of us, obviously, but open-minded. Then he says he wants to be more consistent as this year goes on and play or drive at a higher level a lot more next year. Interesting comments, really. That self-awareness, obviously, to know Is that something that all drivers have? That self-awareness, or do you think some drivers particularly, don't have that self-awareness that they
A lot
had?
of drivers that are in Formula One at the moment, they're quite open-minded. They all know they've got areas they're stronger at and some that they're weaker at, and yeah, they're quite open-minded to take advice on where they could improve. Whereas in other years, could you imagine telling Senna to, this is where you're really bad?
He'd have had you for breakfast. It's always good for a driver to be self-aware. Like Ricciardo, he knows that his performances last year weren't good enough. He's finished third in the championship before. He's a race winner. Spent a lot of time at Red Bull. He knows, well, A, that he's getting on in years in terms of an F1 driver, and B, that his performances the past year or so haven't been good enough. But he seems to be a bit like a Mick Schumacher. He takes a year to maybe buckle into his new team. The first year at Renault wasn't fantastic. Second year was better. Hopefully this year will be better.
Yeah, it's just strange because obviously, the car had its quirks last season, and it was a bit of a strange one to try and get the most out of. But obviously Lando done a good job at it, but he's been with the team for a couple of seasons. And obviously when Sainz was there, he was hot on the heels, if not quicker than Lando.
Here we go.
It sort of says that it must have really been something that Ricciardo disliked to struggle with it so much.
Here we go. It's about to be unveiled. Jack Featherstone, when you're next live, we're live every Monday, 7:15 for the F1 Fan Show. In terms of live, doing another watch along, we tend to plan these as and when. It was planned. This one was planned this morning at about 11 a.m. So basically, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell, and you'll never miss another live again. Here it is.
Ooh, I like that.
Here, you're a bit ahead of me, obviously, because I haven't got it yet. Oh, there it is. Boom. Right. What do we make of that then? Neil, you can go first. It's your team.
Yeah, no, not too shabby. Yeah. It's nice. It's got a little bit of a retro feel to it.
Is that the Golf Blue, Steve?
It is, yeah.
It is the Golf Blue. That is nice. It reminds me a little bit of the orange arrows from the early noughties, except they didn't have the blue. But
there it is.
It's a similar sort of
I
dark
like
orange
that,
with that.
how it's lighting up. That was cool.
Yeah.
That is a nice car. For those that are watching at home, Steve, for those watching at home in F1 jargon, forget about the new fans for a second like me. Explain to the people at home that are perhaps not watching it, can't see it. What does the car look like?
It looks gorgeous for a start. Lovely. You got orange airbox, orange and blue Golf blue, not that horrible garish blue they've had for the past few years. Orange side pods. You got black on the sides there as well, which is very, very nice. It looks like it actually is the proper car as well.
You've got the light blue stripe going from the nose up the side towards the side pod. And then there's a bit of the blue on the rear wing as well as the black. It's matte, which seems to be the way a lot of teams are going now.
What, a matte finish?
Yeah, I think it's lighter, isn't it? Matte paint, I think, is lighter than gloss.
Is it really?
Yeah, so what I've told, because Red Bull were the first ones to do it a few years back, and everyone seems to be following suit.
I didn't know if it had, because I can't imagine it being as smooth, so I didn't know whether it would help air stay attached on surfaces that they want it to.
Maybe. Yeah. That's nice. I like the little blue in the centre of the wheels as well. That's done quite nicely. That is a good livery. I like that. That's much better than the previous few years of McLaren's.
Yeah.
I do like that.
I can't speak for that comment, but I can say I do like that. I'm more of a dark blue fan, I'll be honest. That to me seems like, that's like you put it through the wash too many times and it's that faded sort of colour. But it's got a heritage, a tradition behind it, so I respect the hell out of it. And that's obviously the colour you wanted. And the driver's suit, Neil, was the giveaway, was the tell.
It was, yeah. So we were right on that
come
one.
out all blue.
Can you imagine it? They should have had him wearing something else though, like to really keep this, because that was kind of a okay. Well, it's gonna be those two colours there. That was kind of a for me a disappointment, because I would have liked to have seen that gold blue brought back without thinking ahead of time.
No, that was nice.
It is
It's only because I'm Poirot over here.
Well, that's true. That's true. There we go. So out of 10, rate the car. Harry FC loves the new McLaren. Love is a strong word. Like hate, love is a strong word. But Harry loves it. Steve, do you love it?
I can't say that. I'm a Williams fan. I like it. I like it very, very much. I mean, to be fair, I'm borderline in love with the Aston, because that is just insanely pretty.
Yeah,
And I love that.
I do like the Aston
side pods as well. So good. But that is absolutely wonderful. So I think if the liveries carry on as good as this, as we've seen today and yesterday, excluding the Red Bull and the Haas, of course, Williams are going to have to do something pretty special if they want a car that's going to rival that. So out of 10, that is for me. That is a solid 9.
Oh, that's a great score. Metal Jace looks weird without barge boards, but I like it. Neil, do you love it like Harry does?
The livery colours, the scheme of it and everything, yeah, I really like where they've gone with it. Seeing some of the shapes and the ideas, I'd have to see an in-depth analysis on what each part is sort of there to do. But I think I prefer the Aston in design so far.
Oh, okay. We will feature the Aston on Monday's show, so join us on Monday to hear the more thoughts on the two guys. We break that car down. I haven't even seen it yet. I don't think. I think it was in the WhatsApp group actually. Something of it. But out of 10, Neil, which is your team, you're the one that's going to be really in love with it for the whole year. Out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd say the livery is a 9, and I'll have to hold out on my personal thoughts. So I'll bet get see some close-ups and I'll say some analysis on where they've gone with their design.
Without those, though, let's get your raw thoughts. It's a live watch along. What are your raw thoughts without seeing those?
Well, 50-50. I'm giving it a 5 at this minute.
Wow. So Steve's gone with a 9. Neil is not. This is why I might play your intro just to end the show, because people need to know you are, of course, Mr. Positivity. But he's not impressed, ladies and gentlemen. It's 5 out of 10. We'll get another score on Monday when he's had a chance to look under the bonnet, so to speak, and see the specifics. But,
with some of them, mine, it's how the nose attaches to the front wing. Some of them do it in a really ugly way. You've just got this silly bit that, it just doesn't quite look right to me.
Yeah, okay. I know the Red Bull's obviously not the proper Red Bull, but that's a key example.
Yeah. The Aston, it just smooths in a lot nicer, and it attaches to that middle or the second element of the front wing. The front one basically just. Have you seen how high that sits?
It's really high. It reminds me of sort of the mid noughties cars.
It was supposed to
shorter noses.
Yeah, it's supposed to leave a big space in the centre there for clean airflow to the front of the T tray.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how different teams are doing it. Like the Haas, we know was largely not the Haas, but how they did their side pods, which really sort of they've got a tiny opening compared to what the Astons have done, or the Aston team have done with the gills and the side pods at the top, which is very noughties Renault.
Have you seen how small that they're small as well, Steve?
Yeah,
the big black area that you've got on the side part, that's just a lookalike. It's not actually a hole. It's just that square piece right on the inside.
Oh wow! But even towards the back of the car, like the Aston seems to have wider bodywork than what you've seen on the Haas. We obviously do the engine packaging, that sort of thing. So I don't really get a look at the McLaren, but yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how different teams are doing it up and down the grid. Who's thought of what? Who's found what loopholes? Red Bull have obviously found something to be so coy about their car. You know, there's nothing given away on that whatsoever. So they've found something, I reckon. They always do when there's a regulation change. It takes them a bit of time, but they will.
Okay, right, we're done. We're dusted. 8 from EJ Norris, 8.5 from Metal Jace. We'll get more feedback, more reaction Monday, 7:15. 7:45, we've got the away day guide with Amy coming up as we travel to MK Dons, if you're a Town fan. But yeah, Steve, Neil, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest
Been a
of your
pleasure.
weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
See you then.
Yeah.
Wake up to the, wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to